Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Altars of Metal. Tonight, we journey into one of the most majestic, atmospheric, and emotionally powerful bands in modern progressive metal. A band that has managed to blend heaviness, melody, depth, and epic scope into something truly its own. I'm very happy to welcome to the show Jens Nikolai Gress. I hope I pronounce it correctly, of Yotun. As one of the guitarists and creative forces behind the band, Jens has helped shape the sound of Yotun into what it is today, a soaring and powerful musical universe that has given us incredible works such as Access All Worlds, Kinship, and now the live release waves over Copenhell. Tonight we'll talk about the music, the vision, the journey of the band, the creative process, and everything happening in the world of Yotun. So wherever you're watching from, get comfortable, turn it up, and join me in giving a warm Altars of Metal welcome to Jens Nikolai Gress. Hello Jens, how are you? Good evening.
Good evening, hello and hi, and thank you so much for the perfect introduction. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, thank you. All right, so let me start from the first question, and I want to ask you, with Kinship, did you feel you were expanding the Yotun language, or did you feel you were finally arriving at something that had already been forming inside the band for years?
We felt that we arrived at something that we've been trying to find within ourselves and in our expression, musical expression. We believe that we found that with the debut album or the songwriting process surrounding Access All Worlds. So overall, I don't think that Kinship is like the arrival for what is in essence the sound of Yotun, but it's definitely that album definitely expanded our sound, and in many ways, production and songwriting, and we also threw a couple of extra new things in the Kinship context that weren't a part of the Access All Worlds process.
I'm sure you've been asked this question a million times, but I gotta ask it as well. Your first EP, it was something completely different from what you guys do right now. It was power metal with Benjamin on the vocals. What was the reason you decided to shift completely musically after that?
I get the point that from the outside it might look like that, but within our band and those years we didn't see it that way. A lot of the music for the debut album Access All Worlds were already written, or we wrote that stuff, parallel with the Wizard stuff. The Wizard stuff was just kind of the songs that we kind of just needed to get them out there to get started, and we had a very clear vision about the debut album, what collection of songs we wanted there. I also think that it's, in terms of style, there's not that much of a leap between, for instance, the last song on the Wizard EP, Frost, and then the later stuff. But of course, when you listen to like Given to Explore songs like that, it sounds different. But again, from the inside perspective, from our perspective in the band, every song we have released is a part of the same planet, so to speak.
Okay, and you've described the Kinship process as throwing many old and new ideas between you until the album finally declared that's it. And at what point does a mass of ideas stop being experimentation and start becoming a true Yotun record?
Very early on, because of the way we work. We always start out, my brother and I, just writing lots of riffs, and then we have too many riffs, so we have to have a kind of a system, otherwise it's completely chaos. It will, and we are very perfectionistic. We don't want to to miss out on any good riffs or ideas just because there's too many ideas. Then we don't want any ideas to be left behind. We work pretty structured when we get to the process of connecting the riffs and expanding the riffs and putting songs together. It's by that, it's in that process that we start to visualize or can see what the album might turn out to be. So for instance, we have like, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 songs, just guitar arrangements, and then it's just thrown out there. So normally we start out with the drums and we connect drums and guitars together, and then bass and vocals, and then everything is just it's just a train moving forward from that point on. But we try to visualize what an album can be from a very early part of the songwriting process.
And as you said, you and Jesper, or Jesper, how should I?
Jesper.
Jesper. So you and Jesper usually build the guitar architecture first, and then the others complete the song. Now, when the two of you are shaping a piece, what tells you that it has the emotional gravity to become a Yotun song rather than just a strong collection of riffs?
That's a very, very good question, because it's too easy to say that it's all about how it feels and how we feel in our stomachs. So, I could easily say that it's just about this ideas and the connection of all the ideas feeling right, or, addressing something to our hearts. But surely, on the other hand, we also analyze the stuff and use our brains, and how we use our brain in this process. Our brains, it's hard to say. There are different parameters you can put up, which is a no-go. For instance, if a riff sounds like inspired, if it's something where we've heard this too often before, then it's disqualified from the get-go. We have a tendency to write ideas very spontaneous. So you just grab the guitar and you just plug in and write, mm-hmm. which is very, very good, because you get some very honest idea from that method, and you get a lot of ideas. And of course, when you have a lot of ideas, then you get a lot of shitty ideas as well. So that process of I don't know how we do it. We have like right now we are into the vocals and bass and drums with the 3rd album. So right now we are collecting ideas for the 4th album, Jesper and I. And so we have this. We put the ideas in folders, like a red, yellow, and green folder, and we usually never, ever once again in our life hear the ideas which we put in the red folder, because it's embarrassing. And the yellow ones, we never get back to those. And then the green folder we give all ideas names, and we try to figure out the BPM, how fast is the idea, what's the feel, and what's the tuning and everything, and try to associate the ideas with terms or other words. And then we have like massive loads of pieces of paper where we kind of draw out maps and put all the riffs out and connects with lines and everything, and then it's so that's one way of making a song, is that, oh shit, we have like 15 riffs here within the same world, and then we just start a project and record everything and see if we can make it work together. Sometimes we can, and sometimes it's too forced. You cannot just throw riffs together. So what we often do is we take like a chord progression or one riff, and then we're like, okay, if we have this one riff, imagine that this riff have to go a bit to the east, a bit to the west, and north and south. with a new idea, but with but with the start point in the original riff. Can we get like 5 similar riffs that could kind of morph together as, a little sweet family of riffs? And so that's also an approach that we use a lot. So it's very, we work in different ways. The most important thing, for us, it's not that important how short or long a song is, but the most important thing is that it sounds coherent, that no matter how progressive a song is, it should still be, all the parts of the song should still be consisting of parts on the same body, so to speak. And then every transition, when you go from A to B to C and you go forward in the song, it has to be like a coherent and very exciting a travel where all the transition sounds, to our taste, of course, sounds cool. They can sound natural, they can sound surprising or anything, but it has to appeal to basically our taste in music.
Sounds like you guys have found quite an organized way to with all the folders, the Greek, the yellow, the green, or not the Greek, the green, the yellow, and the red one. So that's nice. All right.
Yeah, and the green folder for the 4th album turned into the Let's Go Bowling from the Big Lebowski, Let's Go Bowling folder. So they are extra green. And now we haven't, it never stops. But it's because there's too many ideas. But it's a good thing, and we have to work with structure. Otherwise, we would not be able to get anywhere, I guess.
But maybe you go back to the yellow folder sometimes and you say, hey, this could develop to a good idea and get it to the green folder, for example.
Sometimes we do. Sometimes, yeah. Yeah, but we have kind of learned that the yellow ideas often are red as well.
All right. Okay. We've got a couple of friends in the comments. Vasilis Age, he says, hello guys, can't wait for Friday live, incredible band. So, yep.
Hello.
And we've got our friend Sick and Metal, and he says, what is your favorite band, and if that band has affected your music on Yotun?
Yes. I have a favorite band. I love a lot of bands, but I have a favorite band, and the band has surprisingly not being that much of a musical effect on our music. And I can try and describe why, but my favorite band is Metallica. And I don't think that Yotun sounds like Metallica. We have little pieces here and there when there are harmonies and stuff, if you go back to some of the more mellow Metallica stuff in the 80s. But my best, I guess the thing is just that no matter what you're listening to, because we don't want to look at a band and be like, we want to be like that band and then copy the style. We want to, as much as possible, to write from within ourselves and see what comes out. So without it sounding like a cliche, I would say that the music we write sounds like us, and therefore not Metallica or other bands we are inspired by. But of course, then again, we stand on the shoulders of many bands, and you will always find lines of inspirations here and there in our music. Of course, we all live in the same world.
Okay. Right. Jens, I wanted you to talk to us a little bit. Okay, it's not a latest release, obviously, but I wanted you to talk to us a little bit about the album cover of Kinship. It is an amazing job that was carried out by illustrator and artist Saprofiel, I forget. Yes, who is known for work with Hammers of Misfortune, featuring a detailed ink and graphite style. The album, paired with layout design by Brian Ames at Metal Blade Records, or Brian Ames, again not sure how to pronounce the name, reflects the album's themes of prehistoric life, nature, and deep interconnected human relationships. Can you tell us how happy you are with the result, and what was it that you guys wanted to express through it?
We are 10 out of 10 happy with the result. Every time I see that artwork, I'm like, yeah, I would never want anything else for Kinship. It was her work with other metal projects that caught our attention on her social media platforms, and we had other, artists. We considered other artists as well, but we kept on coming back to her style, and because it's so hard to point out what it exactly is, but it's very, very magical. And so we contacted her and asked if she was up for doing something with us, and of course she wanted to hear the music and stuff. So so that it's nice to put your stuff on other stuff that you like. And so we sent her the demos and the lyrics for Kinship, and basically told her that whatever you come up with, do it. And then
so you gave him like free expression, go wild, and yeah.
Completely. Nothing on everything that is on that front album artwork came as something completely fresh for us when we saw it the first time. But the funny thing is that she heard her style where she's twisting around a play between the beauty and ugly, and was not her first approach. So her first approach were like more a completely different style, because she took it very literally, the stuff about, tribes and, living, in ancient times and stuff like that. And she showed us that at an online meeting. And before we even had the opportunity to comment on her ideas, she was like, "I'm sorry, I know it's shit." And then we were like, well, it's not shit, but if you start over and do what you do best with your signature style, let's see what happens then. And then she was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll just give it a go. And then the next thing she came up with was this. And we were like, okay, okay, that's it. Yeah, all right, yeah, let's move on.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
I've got my friend Vitamin Death in the comments. That's his nickname, and he says now, yeah, not Vitamin D, but Vitamin Death. So, and he says now there's a kind person, great band, even greater band members. That's his comment. Demetrius, we have the same name, and he asked me just before this interview to ask you a question that has to do with Scandinavian mythology and the name and everything. So I came up with this question, which is, the name Yotun immediately evokes the Jotnar of Norse myth. But the fascinating thing is that the Jotnar are not simply villains or monsters. They are older than the gods, bound to wild nature, otherness, wisdom, and forces that are both creative and destructive. When you chose that name, were you drawn more to the idea of power, to the idea of ancient otherness, or to that of deeper ambiguity? And do you feel that the music of Yotun is in some way an attempt to give sound to that border between beauty and danger, order and the unknown?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of questions in that question.
Yeah, I'm trying to, I love to get philosophical sometimes.
Yeah, that's perfect. I think the easiest thing for me is to go back to where it started. We found the words, in a dictionary on the online page for the Danish Royal Library, where they have a dictionary of Old Norse, and there's a lot of cool words there, and of course I knew quite some stuff about Norse mythology beforehand, but I'm not claiming to be an expert on it. But Yotun was just right there, and I told Björn, our drummer, I said, well, this is actually cool because I think we can find it sounds good and it's cool, and I think we can find a lot of different meanings in that term, that name for the band. And he asked like immediately from a graphical kind of perspective, in terms of the logo that we would need. He asked if it can be spelled with I, and I was like, I don't know. So I checked up on Google, and I found some old sources that I think it's from the Germanic, the southern Danish, northern Germanic part. It can also be spelled with I. So we were like, okay, fuck it, let's not go deeper into this. It might be wrong or not. We don't care. It looks cool. IOTUNN. That's us. And then of course, we're not like a Viking band that goes into the realms of Norse mythology and make a stance or put ourselves in a position in terms of ideas or like a religious position or anything like that, or philosophical position within that Nordic religious realm. That was not our thing, because, as you know, our music is about spacecrafts and all kinds of stuff. But the function or the positioning, even from the world's beginning to the end time, and along the way, between natural chaos and the very complex and combined reality that is the Jotuns and what they stand for, not just as being the bad ones, but being an element in a world or a whole world view, which is combined of many things and many different characters and powers. We found that interesting in terms of our songwriting and the quest we felt we were on, where it's like, fuck it, we are not a specific metal genre. We do not bow down to a specific direction in terms of creativity or stuff like that. We want it to be chaotic. We want it to be like, okay, if we love this music and it's very different from what we've done before, or we sometime in the future do a U-turn or left or right turn or anything, then we would allow ourselves to that. And the band name kind of established that for us, that it's okay that we stir things up a bit and do exactly what we want, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the atmospheric or the epic dimensions of our music, we find that also well represented in the band name, as like the which is familiar with the Greek Titans.
Absolutely.
And we like. Then we like also to build like mainly build like big sounding music from out of not limited sources, but build it on basic ground. Drums, bass, and two guitars and the vocals. How far can we get with a classic Judas Priest's band setup instead of putting like 100 layers of orchestra sound and stuff on top of it. Yeah.
Okay. I've got a comment from Menelaus in the comments section, and he says, you have a great metal scene on Danish soil nowadays with bands like Frenolith, The Eyes, Avski, and Yotun, of course. I'm looking forward for a third record. And he was fast enough, because my next question was, where is Yotun standing at right now? Are you guys focusing more on touring or writing new material?
Both. We are doing everything at the same time, as much as possible. Um, Several weeks back, we had before we went to Norway and play with the Tiamat Threshold and Third and the Mortal. We had 1 week of vocal sessions where Jesper, Jon, and I, we were together every day, and he did vocals for, I don't know, 4 songs. He just recently did for the 5th song. We have 9 songs on the paper right now for the 3rd album. So when we are far with the vocals, that means we all are very, very far, because that means that the drums are pretty much locked in, the guitars. We still need some bass, but Eskil is fast as a shark when it comes to writing the bass, when, you know. So we just need to, during this year, to, you know, get everything, you know, written, so that we can get started recording the drums with everything in order, idea-wise, before that, you know, including the vocals. And yeah, where does that? Yeah. So, but the touring aspect, there's a lot of touring the coming month, and then we have a couple of festivals, and then it's quite easy in general, it's quite easy in May, June, and July. So we should be able to get a lot of stuff done during those months, and then we're busy again in August, and then the rest of the year, a few gigs here and there. So we definitely have put aside a lot of time to really get deep into finalizing the 3rd album, and hopefully we'll start recording it this year. And that means if we start recording it this year, realistically it will be out in autumn 27.
Autumn 27. All right.
Yeah, maybe.
And how can we expect it to be different from Kinship, or not?
It is different. It's also, the boring answer would be wait and see, right? So I must give away a bit, I guess. I can say, I think it's hard for me really to say, because I was like, I thought that Access All Worlds was the most spacey shit that we've ever done, and then I showed some of my friends Kinship before it came out, and they told me that's even more spacey, and I was like, no, it's not. So I don't know. It's heavier. There's more. There's more. It has more riffs with, you know, with the chuck. It's more chunky. There are more like, just headbang and don't stop riffs, and there's some stuff on there, of course, that are really fast, and but there's a lot of moody, doomy stuff as well on there. Some songs that are very just plain, you know, I think very exciting structures, but very just leaning into one atmosphere and just going out there.
Because you've gotten us used to the atmosphere, to the atmospheric part, and I'm sure it's gonna be quite eminent in the.
Yeah, of course it will. It will. There's also, to a lot of the riffs, there's some kind of what can I say? Then again, there's too many riffs on the next album as well. But it's some of the riffs are more, I would say, compared to Kinship, they're more simplistic. You know, they just, you know, they just go right for your throat. You know, in ingrainedness, just building up big columns instead of having all little subtle little details and stuff. But the more complex or detailed riffs are there as well. Some shorter songs, some middle in the middle songs, and and then it will have our longest song today as well.
And you know, I'm sure it's a typical question, but do we perhaps have any idea for a title?
No, we don't. Of course, we have ideas right now for titles for some of the songs, and we are narrowing down, you know, concept and story and themes and stuff like that. So we have a pretty clear idea about what it will be about and what colors we combine the music with, and and that makes us think about the artwork and all the visuals, of course.
Okay, and lyrically, what is the direction going to be like? Is it going to be in the similar subjects? Are you going to explore new subjects and try to express new feelings on different ideas, or?
Yeah, it's different from it's it's different from both Kinship and Access All Worlds for sure.
Okay.
It will have, I can throw out a couple of keywords and then people know what we are working with, and it might not be that exactly, but the keyword for us was nature and um, and the end times.
And what? The
End times.
end times.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the very last breath.
The entropy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
All right.
let's see where we take it.
Okay. The reason I asked you in the beginning if how is it gonna be different, and then I said or not, is because a lot of bands do talk about evolution, but you've also said you don't want to evolve just for the sake of evolving. So,
No.
yeah. So when you move forward, what has to remain intact for it to still feel truthful to Yotun?
I guess some sense of the music appealing more to your feelings than your brain. Some melancholy and some the very different task of make, in the same piece of music, make a combined expression of sadness or hopelessness, and then hope on the same time.
Are you melancholic in your everyday life, and is that what you try to embody in your music? If you want, you answer that. But it's usually a question that you would ask any artist, as art is an express of emotions. Or is it something that appeals to you as something artistic that you like to develop in your music?
It's both. I find it interesting because it's such a huge part of being a human being, from my perspective. But we don't want to make records where where it's like 100% like, oh, it's just evil, or oh, it's naive and full of hope all the time, or it's like wow, that's too epic because it's almost like just a pile of cliches, the cliches put on top of each other. So we hope for at least to combine, the complex structures of what it is to live as a human being, and how we interact and relate to ourselves and our families and other humans and nature and all surroundings and ideas. And of course, melancholy is a part of my life, as it is for a lot of people. It's not something I dwell with. That's, if you sit and think too much and get in the mood, you can get in the, I don't want to spend too much time to get in a heavy mood but on the other side, if you get into those heavy thoughts and moods of melancholy, then something very exciting often comes out of that on the other side. I am in general, with my work and band and everything, and how my life is, not put together, but just how it is. I am in general pretty happy and easygoing. But the darker sides are, of course, also a part of life, for sure.
It's good to hear that. I'm a pretty positive guy in my life, but whenever there have been some dark eras in my life and I've dwelled into sadness and melancholy, there is an eerie connection with beauty, I think, and sometimes I personally, that's a personal impression. I consider it even necessary, you know, and that's where it has its beauty in order to bring balance to your life. Of course, unless you dwell in there for too long. But would you agree with this general concept?
Yeah, definitely. There's some beauty in there. There's also melancholy is quite different from love, but it's very tightly connected. You know, the longing for love. You know, the you know just the human feeling of feeling that you long for something, or even belong to something and stuff like that is very, very powerful, and it's very much rooted in love, and often, you know, the one of the beauty, more darker shadows that comes out of that is melancholy, definitely.
Okay. I have another question from Sick and Metal, and he says, from which country did you have your best live experience?
Um,
Difficult question, I guess.
uh, yeah, because it is every live experience is so different, and it's very rare that we don't feel good about our live experiences. Um, of course, Wacken in Germany was very, very special, but you know, and of course that's in Germany, but then again, when you know how the audience is put together at Wacken, you have the whole world there. Um, so Wacken was something very special. We played twice at Summer Breeze in Germany as well. That's been fantastic both times.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and um, then of course it's always special to play in Denmark,
Mm-hmm.
and it is. And but it's also always also just a tiny bit harder in Denmark, because it's you know it's your own people, so to speak.
Yeah.
So they might demand slightly bit more, where we, you know, out in Europe and other places we've been, um, uh, it feels more like that we are on vacation, so to speak. Um, then Norway, I have to mention Norway. No, we put a lot of energy into Norway. We played there loads of times, and Norway is very special to us.
All right. And what are your expectations from Friday? And before you answer, let me remind to everybody, you're playing live this Friday at Piraeus Academy in Athens. You will
Yeah.
have Exile in Utopia as the support band. It is organized by Ex Lalala, and yeah. So, what are your expectations?
Yeah, we play in Thessaloniki on Thursday as well,
Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry,
before
sorry.
be-
Thessaloniki as well.
before Athens. Yeah, yeah. And we
Thessaloniki is
just
on
we can't.
Thursday. Thursday, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
it should be.
Mm-hmm.
I hope so, because we're going there Thursday.
Okay.
uh, yeah, we're looking very much forward to it. We can't wait to be in Greece again. We went to Greece last summer, which was fantastic. You know, not just the festival we played at, and you know, and having a great time there. We stayed for 3 or 4 days and went into the mountains, and went up in you know, to Mount Olympus, and that was insane. like Insanely beautiful, and we were so lucky with the weather. We had it was beautiful, you know, during the day when you know, when we climbed the mountains, and then in the evening there were thunderstorms all over, and
Mm-hmm.
lightnings, and
Mm.
what better place in the world to stand and just watch the Thunder Gods go crazy. But yeah, so we can't wait to be in Greece again, and then we can't wait to play like a proper headliner set where we really can expand and play a bunch of songs. And then always after the gig, when you're like, holy shit, what happened? Then come out and sign vinyls and talk to people and connect over the passion for music together. That's always very special.
Perfect. Right, Jens, I want to ask you a little bit about the video clips. You have released a few video clips, like The Tower of Cosmic Nihility some 5 years ago. You also released a few from live at Copenhell, like Waves Below and The Tower of Cosmic Nihility, for instance. F to Sky about a year ago, Iridescent Way 2, as well as a few others. I suppose it goes without saying that we will get to see more video clips from Yotun in the nearby future? Or should we just actually wait for the new album, is my expectation?
We are not quite settled yet on that. We are always bringing our mixer and recording all our shows. So we would definitely like to release some more live stuff, because we just love bands putting out live stuff, and we want to be a part of that as well. Whether we will put something out where it's only a live album with sound, or if we will, make another live video from some of these shows this year. I don't know yet. We haven't decided 100% yet. In terms of music videos, I don't think we will do another video from the Kinship album. Every little project, like a video, for instance, which is never a little project, or a small project, is something that just expands the cake as such, and we really have to be careful about of our time this year in order to make sure that the next album will be done as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. And Menelaus says in the comments, I think that Iridescent Way is a beautiful song from the guys, an acoustic song, like a ballad, in a time where this kind of songs are getting more rare in metal.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we knew for a long time that particular song should be on the second album, and I am pretty sure that we will not have a song like that on the third album, because it's just not what that album is supposed to, be.
It's heavier.
But yeah,
riff-wise, as you said.
Yeah, it is. But it's filled with clean guitar parts, so you will not miss out on the dynamics. But we have a lot of acoustic ideas for songs like Iridescent Way, or something that is in that within that world of expressions. So the more acoustic, kind of folky part of us is definitely something that that we would like to create a bit more of. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And on Access All Worlds, there was more of a futuristic feel, while Kinship feels older, more primordial, more earthbound and mythic. What changed in your imagination as a songwriter between those two records?
It's a balance between, on one hand, that when it comes to concepts, then concepts are always, they are combined with narratives, themes, visuals, colors, everything. It's a full package, and the full package, all those ideas, they have a lot of influence also on the production and how we mix the album and how it sounds. And all of this is also very, very, or essentially very much influenced by, the music that we write. And with the Access All Worlds, we handed over all the demos for the songs to Jon and said to him, what does this sound like? And that's a very key thing for us when we have to put together like production with songwriting, with themes, with colors and the visuals. Everything is combined by the fact that everything had like common associations. And he associated that music immediately with science fiction and a big drama played out, between few humans in a spacecraft. And we were like, okay, let's do it. We could hear that as well. For Kinship, it was a bit more collaborative between Jesper, myself, and Jon, where I presented at the Faroes. We visited Jon, Jesper, and I presented him some ideas that became what became a Kinship. So I had some ideas, and I asked Jon, "Do you hear the same as me? Does this even make sense?" And he was like, "Yeah, that's really cool." And then of course he took it and shaped it and made his own. And then then all of a sudden we had an album where we were set in a completely different narrative and world. And it's the same thing we're gonna do with the next album.
All right. Now I have another philosophical question for you here. Since you like to explore all of these nice aspects of existence, do you believe that humanity is just a drop in the ocean of vast emptiness within the stars and the galaxies of the cosmos? Are we insignificant, perhaps, in the darkness, or maybe at the same time significant because of our possible singularity? Or do you think that we are one of countless intelligent civilizations that perished into the darkness of the universe before countless others will emerge?
And you want me to answer that?
Yeah.
Well, I can throw some words to the left and right that might be, perspectives on the question, but not answers, as I don't think we have the answers. One thing is that if you look at, of the scale of everything, of the cosmos and the scale of everything, then it will always be, one thing is like, you could say, it's a fact that we are kind of nothing in the vast nothingness, or that we are so small that we are almost like nothing compared to the something that is everything. And
let me quote Death over here, where nothing is everything and everything is nothing.
Yeah, and
Death the band, Chuck Schuldiner.
Yeah, and but then when you talk about how you view the world, or what beliefs you have, or what experiences you have as a human being, then you can all of a sudden have very different positions in terms of this, where you would reject it to be a fact, but just a way of doing an observation of what you would consider like natural facts, but not like existential facts. And in terms of other life in the universe, well, we don't know if there's, but it would be weird if there weren't, because of the numbers alone. It would be surprisingly a very big surprise if not at some point somewhere. And and when you talk about time and then the vastness of the universe, it doesn't really make any sense anymore to talk about time, because it's so elastic. And then yeah, and then the whole question about perspectives on life or your beliefs, and then yeah, I guess we have to, first of all, we have to remember, at least from a Scandinavian perspective, we have to remember that we live on the other side of the Enlightenment era and Immanuel Kant, um, um, and I know there's many counter positions to this, but to put it shortly, the thing in itself, it's when you have your beliefs or stuff, if everything has a purpose or not, or everything is nothingness or absurd, or everything is like something where you already see that there is inherited or inlying there some meaning to life, it's I find it hard to find any of those positions as something that you, from an existential perspective, flat out can say, and that's a fact. It becomes very subjective, and it becomes a matter of how you view things. But that creates another problem, because the problem of relativism, because then the question is everything just, when you have world views or views on life, is everything just subjective, or is there some common natural or common objective truth that you can, in language or arguing together or in experience, can explore? I'm not quite set on those questions. I don't know where I stand exactly. I just know some positions that I like to be aware of. Let me put it that way.
I love the fact that I troubled you this way. So,
No,
okay,
it's good. No, I love it. It's a good question. It's a really good question.
yeah, okay, thank you. All right, Jens, Mistland seems especially important in the Yotun story, both because of its emotional weight and because you and Jesper worked intensely on it. What does that song represent to you now?
Um, it's a very special song for us because it was the first step that we took outside of the Exasol World box. We had this very sci-fi kind of very hard sounding record in Exasol Worlds, and then the next song we released was like the single of Mistland a year and a half, I think, before the album even Kinship even came out, and it was all, the expression was very, very different, and it was important for us, I think, to have that first step from one album to something new, where we also stepped in a completely different direction, and to experience, the very positive feedback on the song. So, and for us, it's a very, very catchy and emotional song.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we had some good times writing that song. It was like okay, we have the the verse pre-chorus chorus verse pre-chorus chorus thing, and everything is just so standard and oh yeah, easy going, and then everything from there was just like, oh, are we going this way? No, are we going this way? This way? And it became the last 2/3 of the song became like this quest of just expanding one particular color, like everything is just combined in one entity, but look at all these different little variations that come up. It's yeah.
Okay. And Vasilis is asking, what Yotun song do you enjoy most to play live, or in general, what is your favorite Yotun song?
I enjoy the song enjoy the most to play live is Access All Worlds, the title track. It's such a nice song to play because you can kind of stand like tall and proud in the song, but at the same time you always feel like you have some hand in the song holding you behind your back, like you're just cruising through it, and you can really let go of every thought you might have, or you know, I feel totally free when I play that song.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's the reason why it might also be my favorite Yotun song.
All right.
But yeah.
Okay. Also, the themes of Kinship deal with connection and disconnection, conformity versus your own path, body and mind, nature and culture. Was that conceptual framework there from the beginning, or did it reveal itself as the song started speaking to each other?
The beginning was, like I said, was on the Faroese, where I sat, you know, stormy evening. I sat and had some beers with Jesper Jung, and the basic idea, and it's not that apparent in the lyrics because we tend to, or Jon also tends to like the lyrics to be kind of abstract at the same time, so that the room for interpretation is as vast as possible, but because without everything falling apart. But it started with me having this idea about this dystopian idea setting place in like mythical kind of ancient, you know, prehistoric time, you know, in a society of people, you know, outside of our history. Like it's complete own world. And I think my idea was a bit like how can we tell, like, you know, with people living like in a very primitive setting, like not like primitive and simple, but primitive in like you know, essential, or like, you know, like the first people. How can we make a setting that could remind us a bit of like the dystopian stories like you have in 1984, and then then we talked about, you know, that the greatest force and the biggest disease in this society was the humans' extremely violent way of trying to find the truth all the time. And it's a good thing for people to find the truth, put it in that way, that it makes us wonder and move and look for stuff. But it's not very good when you kind of give a shit about how you treat other people on the way towards, you know, forward in that search. And so I had this idea that these people, they must have come up with like a ritual where they can divide the soul from the body, and then you have like then they send the souls out in space, and they will just float around out there, and the body will be like in a zombie-like state, just walking around with dead eyes, you know. And then Jon popped up with the idea, and he said, "Yeah, okay." So he wrote the intro of Kinship, which is about two brothers. And one brother have been, you know, a part of the ritual. So that's why the main character in Kinship sings at the end, "You left me." So he lost his brother to this sick operation they are doing with the ritual in this tribe. And then during the album, it's like a catch me if you can kind of thing, where it's also like an individual search for meaning in life and individuality, and as such seen, as opposed to society and people and cultures wanting you to be something you might not be. And then of course the Earth to Sky and the English Ethereal, the album just floats out. He goes through the ritual, and then who the fuck knows what's going on with him from then on. because he's supposed to be at two places at the same time, and that's, it does not make any sense like logically, but in David Lynch kind of terms, for us it makes perfectly sense.
David Lynch never made any sense to me.
No, that's what I meant.
I always thought, the first time I watched David Lynch, I don't remember if it was Mulholland Drive or what's the other one, the very known one, Lost Highway. Lost Highway.
Yeah,
I don't remember which one I watched first, and then I watched the other one, and I was like, I thought that he's trying to make it, more, as much as what the fuck as possible, and then in the end, it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and you're like, dude, come on. Amazing, undeniably amazing, but at the same time, it kind of pissed me off a little bit, like as if he was on purpose just trying to make it without sense, that the parts were there was no connection, they were not interconnected, I thought.
No,
but
yeah, that's the thing with a lot of the stuff that David Lynch did, especially from he started out with that really weird setting of stuff. No, I forgot Eraserhead. No, he started off as whack as he could be, because that movie is just one big what the fuck is going on experience. But he plays, he plays with with the laws of physics, and there's a lot of symbolism, and he's especially doing like he was very, I think, inspired by dreams and by meditation and stuff like that, and he just throws it all together, and then he, which is very fun, I think, he plays a lot with time. So like Mulholland Drive, but it's so funny how that movie is just centerpieced about that one scene in the middle with the black box. So what's all the stuff going on before and all the stuff after, and how is that? Because all of a sudden you have like two storylines at the same time with the same people with different hair colors and shit. So yeah. And of course, if you find that stuff fun to kind of figure out in a logical sense, then of course you can spend some time on it, but at some point you just have to stop because it gets ridiculous, and then you're like, okay, if I approach it from the other angle, it's just about kind of feeling it and then pick up the little pieces that at least makes minimum sense, and then the rest is kind of, it can mean everything, a lot of the stuff, because it's just it's not the regular storytelling. But he did that very funny movie where he had like this very satirical or ironical take on his own art by doing a movie called The Straight Story, which is about an old man driving on a little tractor from point A to B.
I haven't watched that one, but yeah.
No, he released that. He made that while he was, freaking out with Lost Highway and Mulholland Drive and stuff like that. So.
Okay. My friend Jack Smalam says, lest we forget Eraserhead, Twin Peaks, and Blue Velvet. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't get him, but all right. Okay. Jens, we are at 1 hour and 5 minutes. Should we have a 3-minute break so I can get another beer and we come back in 3 minutes?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, sure.
Guys, don't leave us. Stay there. I'm watching you. All right. So we're going to be back in 3 minutes. Thank you for watching, and see you in a bit. Okay, everybody, we're back after a very short break. Here we are with Jens from Yotun. And okay, so let me just check on the comments. My friend Jack Smalam said David Lynch's other great movies: Razorhead, Twin Peaks, Blue Velvet, as well as Inland Empire. So he knows.
Yeah, and Elephant Man.
And?
Elephant Man.
Elephant
I would
Man.
put that up in top.
All right.
But yeah.
Okay. Gotcha now. Right. Okay, so you've said that emotion matters more than technicality and that you always ask whether you truly feel the music strongly. In practical terms, how do you know when a technically impressive section is actually weakening the emotional truth of a song? And how do you balance these?
Yeah. It's yeah, that's a really good question because I don't think we have experienced that, you know, as such in our band because and people can say what they want or have different opinions on this, of course, but I never, as such, I never really you know, considered our music to be like that technical at all. Of course, some of the stuff it's not super easy to play, but it's but I don't consider our music like very technical. But it is, I guess it's a taste thing, and you know, if something hits your taste the right way, then you open up and you receive, you know, you allow yourself all the feelings, just they are just right there. So that will be a matter of catchiness and melodies or ideas being, you know, being really good ideas on another level than just melody. And it could be something, it could be like a transition or something weird that happens for a short period of time that really connects two pieces very well together, or it could be a part where, you know, where you think the music sounds in a certain way, and then the lyrics kind of just builds on that, and then you're like, oh, okay, so how everything is connected here makes it catchy for me, because it's connected. It you know, it has it's like an entity, and that evokes, like, you know, good strong feelings about the music and what you're listening to. And then of course, like I said before, your ear is tuned in to hear, you know, melodies and atmospheres and chord progressions in a certain way where something just clicks with you. And I guess that's why, you know, in a lot of our songs, it's like we are not copying our songs. I think every song stands on its own legs, but we have there's some things that we do more than once, I must say, and we might just do that for a reason, because it connects with our feelings. We just try to find different variations, you know, with the same ingredients.
Okay. Now, let's say you go out for a walk or something and you've got your headphones. What would you listen to these days?
I am listening a lot these days to a couple of bands that we played with in Norway. Two of my all-time favorite bands, but after seeing them in Norway after our gig, I just put it on again and again, and it's the Norwegian band Third and the Mortal.
Third and the Mortal.
Kind of, yeah, Tears Laid in Earth, which is such a beautiful album. And then Tiamat, all kinds of stuff with Tiamat. What else?
Tiamat,
do I listen?
you said.
Yeah,
yeah,
Tiamat, Swedish band.
Yep. Favorite
And
album from Tiamat and favorite song?
oh,
Let's not forget we're all
I
fans. So,
oh yeah, it's one of those bands like a little bit like Paradise Lost, where there are many bands in one band, and they master all their styles really well. So it's difficult for me. I have the same as with Paradise Lost actually. I have like a weak spot for the big rock atmospheric rock music they make. So the album I'm listening to the most these days are Prey. Um, Favorite album, maybe A Deeper Kind of Slumber, because it's so fucked. Um, um, best best song, I have to say the R from Wild Honey,
okay.
because let alone of the riff. Simple, but it is one of my favorite riffs of all time. It's stupid, so well written that riff is.
For me, it's The Sleeping Beauty. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
an all-time
That's
classic, man. I heard it first when
I
I was like 13 or something, and I was like, "Holy shit!" That's amazing.
yeah, yeah, with the gagagang gagagang.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
yeah. It's they played that in Norway. It was fantastic.
Killer. Yeah. And
Yeah.
As I Die from Paradise Lost.
But okay, and now it gets tricky because of course with Paradise Lost releasing a new album last year, they are on heavy rotation as well. Ferris, you're asking me to pick out one song by Paradise Lost.
Yup.
Uh,
Because when I
mm,
interview somebody, I don't forget that this somebody is also a fan. So,
um, what is it? Enchantment, the opening track from Draconian Times.
I don't remember because I don't know their discography that well.
No, no, I would go with that one. But yeah, I don't know. Also, a song from Faith Dividers, Death to Unite Us. That album is I find myself putting that album on regularly, and I found out it's because every song is great. There's no fillers on that one. I would so Last Regrets, I think, from that album.
One solemn, says Jack Smallam.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. In terms of, let me check up. Yeah, in relation to what? Yeah, what did he say in relation to what?
No. He just said one solemn from Paradise Lost.
Oh, um,
I don't know if that's the first track from Draconian Times. I'm not sure, but
um, no, I can't. No, it's not. It's not.
mm.
Can can he tell me which? I forgot which album is it from?
Paradise Lost once solemn. One solemn is from it's from Draconian Times, and Draconian Times track list
Yeah.
is Enchantment. Yeah, number
Yeah,
one is
yeah,
Enchantment.
yeah.
One Solemn is the fifth. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, once off. Fuck me. Um, yeah. No, no, that's not. No, I would prefer.
Yeah,
I would
he meant
prefer.
Enchantment. He says my bad. Yeah, the first song is Enchantment. Yeah.
Oh, okay, sure. Well, the entire album is really, really cool. I would Enchantment. I would maybe yeah, or Hello Land because of the transitions between very different. That song has some very, very powerful transitions and dynamics.
And
Mm.
I'm really curious. How do you feel about Anathema, the old stuff especially? But
Um,
everything.
I like it very much. I am not. It's not something that I hear that much, so I cannot. I'm not an expert. I cannot like oh that or that or that. But I have had quite a few times sitting and listening to them with Jon, our singer, who's a big fan of Anathema.
All right.
Really,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
But the song, what is the song the song you always refer to? From the 90s. Go down.
From Alternative 4, from Judgment, from
It's from the Silent Enigma.
ooh, tough. Anathema, the Silent Enigma track list is Restless Oblivion, Sunset of
Yeah,
Age, The Silent
it's
Enigma, Shroud of
yeah, it's
Frost, Nocturnal Emission, A Dying Wish, Alone, Cerulean Twilight, and Black Orchid.
it's that one. Restless,
Restless
the opening
Oblivion, the
track.
first one. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's a really, really heavy track
All right.
and
Okay.
beautiful.
Now that Waves over Copenhell is out, what did hearing Yotun in a live document reveal to you about the band that the studio versions did not?
It's it rev- it's when we do studio recordings, we record to a metronome, to a click. We try not to make it too tight, but kind of we want to really make the music groove as much as possible, and I think we're getting better at it. Um, and so that's one thing that I was very happy about hearing. When I hear our stuff recorded live, especially from that show, is that it's it's uh, it's it's good and groovy in that way that we keep it together because we never play live with a click. Uh, that's without a click, and that live feel, the push you hear in the music, the there's some kind of electric energy there, which is a little bit more than on the albums.
Mm-hmm.
That would be really cool to aim for, to get more of on the third album. That does not mean that we will make the third album with very rough edges and just go like total garage. We will still be like, oh fuck, every little detail has to be just in the right place. But there's definitely some energy there in the live recording that
Mm-hmm. Okay.
that we couldn't get whether we couldn't get a bit more of on a studio recording.
Mm-hmm. Also, Jens, you and Jesper are brothers, and you've both been building toward this band for a very long time. Now, what does that shared history give Yotun that you couldn't replicate with any other songwriting partnership?
It's just, well, I think it's the fact that this is for Jesper and I. It's way more than music. Just because alone of our history as brothers. We know each other so well, since we were little kids, and we always backed each other up and supported each other, and we are very similar on a lot of stuff, when it comes to interests and what we find funny and what we like to do with it. We besides music, we have a lot of cool stuff to do together, and that we can do together because we find it equal. We both find it interesting. So it doesn't matter if it's going to the mountains or going into nature and watch birds or watching Monty Python or we are very like-minded, and
It's like you guys together are like an engine, like a machine together that works this way, this duality.
Yeah, definitely. We know each other so well that we don't. Sometimes we talk too much, but when we really have to really get going at the music writing, we don't talk that very, very much. It's more like we look at each other, and then Jesper, for instance, he tells me, Jens Nikolaj, that's the worst idea in the history of mankind, and I'm like, I know, and then we move on. It's very, very easy for us to just get the ball rolling, and we have also, on top of all this, we have very, very similar taste in music.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty easy, but not boring easy. It's always fun and exciting.
Okay. And Sick and Metal is asking, which one is your favorite album from Metallica and what song?
It depends on what day you ask me.
Okay, today.
Yeah, because yesterday it was Ride the Lightning, and today it's Master of Puppets, and tomorrow it's Ride the Lightning again. That's favorite song. I go with Master of Puppets because my favorite Metallica song of all time is Welcome Home Sanitarium.
I would expect that for some reason.
Yeah.
I also love it. Yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
All right. And Jack Smalam is asking the question. He says, what are your interests outside of music? Martial arts, for instance, hunting, reading. What do you do to enjoy life outside the band? And then Sick and Metal says, well, I don't think he's the type of the hunter guy, but...
No, I enjoy very much to just be outside and be in the nature, but I'm definitely not a hunter. My dad was a hunter and my grandpa and stuff. So at some point I should pick up something to shoot with, but and I'm not like I like to make a fire and stuff like that, but I'm not like an expert in outdoor skills or stuff like that. I just like to be outside and watch birds, and I like to travel, and then when I travel, I make sure that I have a handful of days where I can go, with my family or friends, or can just get in there and I love one. I'm not a climber because I'm not climbing. I'm just walking in the mountains. So otherwise I would just die one day. But I love struggling for beauty. I love being like, after several hours, be like, oh, this shit is too much, and then be like, holy shit, did I really do it? And then look at the wonder of perspective and horizons and big views and landscapes. It's very, very inspiring, for music writing, but it really give you a sense of freedom, but you also get very humble because everything that surrounds you is just so big and vast, and there you're just standing looking at it all, and you are like, oh, how lucky am I? I can just stand here and watch this shit. I'm also I'm very passionate about my day job, where I work at a club with kids and play music with them and stuff. And yeah, and I like to read also good novels. I especially like theology, philosophy, and history. I found those subjects very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just to mention a few.
Okay. When you
Yeah,
say that you love going out because everything that surrounds us is so vast, you see it from the eyes of the microcosmos that we live in. So my next question is, do subjects such as astrophysics and astronomy perhaps appeal to you?
yeah, definitely. But I'm not an expert. It's not something that I'm studied per se, but I spent quite a lot of time, you
Mm-hmm.
know, finding sources to figure out how it, it's just interesting, how is everything built? So it's not only, physics and astronomy, it's also biology, it's how, you know, when you look at everything, it's basically just a lot of bricks, from the tiniest thing that you can see with the eye to the biggest things. And everything is just, I don't know, matter and nothingness and just stuff that's put together that lives and breathes. And it's extremely fascinating. But it's definitely secondary to literature and philosophy and stuff like that.
It's since you're reading also philosophy and theology, don't you
Yeah,
find it fascinating how the different approaches between science and theology actually, many times actually, you know, I wouldn't say that they coincide, that they collide with each other, but how they interpret everything that exists around us. It's interesting to see the comparison between theology and science and how they interpret the universe around us.
it's extremely fascinating.
Mm.
Um, when I say theology, I mean within Christian theology.
Sorry, what
But
theology?
yeah, theology. Then I mean like a Christian theology.
Yeah.
But that's also Judaism and everything comes from a place. And history of religion is extremely fascinating. And at some point in history, you know, uh, you're, there are some very, very tight connected, tight connections between philosophy and theology as well. Uh, like you have in natural sciences and in many periods in history, and even more the longer you go back, everything is connected, so you can't really separate the things. um, but I guess with after the Reformation and when you come into empiricism and then modern natural science, with Newton and stuff, guys like him, then you can't things kind of get separated. Um, so up until that point, there's many things really connects many places. You have what you call like the synthesis. Is that an English word? It must be.
Yeah, it's a Greek.
It's
It's a Greek word, but it also applies in
uh,
English. The synthesis. Yeah.
yeah, between Christian theology and Greek philosophical tradition, you have two big periods or eras. In the early Middle Ages, and then in the High Middle Ages with Thomas Aquinas and Aristotle and everything, where you really, ironically enough, because there were so many, doctrines and so much violence also coming from scholared people and the power of the church, but where you also had like, you had an interest in a symbiosis between Christianity and how the university works. You have this push for natural science and stuff, So, but the further you get up, and that's very interesting, you get up in the further you get, towards our time, it's things get more divided, and of course there are between natural science and theology. There's a lot of different takes on different matters, and they also are very well combined at some with a lot of stuff. But there are also some really heavy collisions, of course, and some people look at that involvement of history as being like a stronger and stronger, building of army size within natural science that slowly, had pushed the take on many matters within theology to view things different, because you could not, argue any, against evolution, for instance, or but within theology you had, what many thinkers within theology have done, since the times of enlightenment and forward, is that they just accept that push, especially in the northern part of Europe. You just accept that push, and then you find a new position to attack the same questions with, and then you kind of have to deal with that. You have to live with several observations or kinds of truths. But then we know it went crazy, with the fundamentalistic approach on the text. The modern term of being have a fundamentalistic, view on the text is actually pretty modern. It's a very new position when you consider everything, and that's that's where you just basically go a step back, and you just say, okay, all this evolution of natural science is faggots. The Bible is the truth, and then you have completely new problems, especially in the US, because it's something that apparently inspires or find interest by a lot of people, also powerful people. So that's kind of the big clash there today, I think, where I'm like, why can't you just accept the fact of the very high possibility of the natural sciences theories being truthful, and then surrounding that, find a solid, good position within your theology. It does not take anything away from anyone, really, but I guess that's the battleground for owning the truth is a hard one.
When you have on one hand religion and on the other hand natural sciences, if you compare them like together, that they are like yin and yang, would you say that each completes the other? Like natural sciences is the practical part, while religion is the theoretical part. And when we get the proof from the natural sciences of things, of questions that humanity hadn't answered so far, and then we get the answers to, then religion adapts to this and gives a reinterpretation to those proofs without actually demolishing the pillars of the belief, but reinterpreting them in order to adapt to the new data. Would you say that there is this yin-yang kind of relation between them, and that perhaps they even complete each other?
Well, they are different because it's as I see it, and what it's become, it's two very, very different ways of putting the light on all phenomena and all the everything life consists of. So basically, they are very, very different, and in sometimes when they try to answer the same thing but with different answers, then or different methods, then you often get the collisions. And the question is here, the yin yang part is like, I don't know. It depends on how you see it, and it depends also how you see, epistemology, the science of knowledge, and philosophy and everything, and psychology also, as well as it depends on how that whole ground of philosophy, how that combines, religion and the natural sciences, and how everything then from there on works together. And at the end of the day, what I ask myself often is that maybe it's, or maybe I'm concluding it, I don't know, but maybe it's a matter of like accepting that within reality, you got two houses, you got two homes, and you have to kind of, if that appeals to you, if you both are very inspired and respects the results of natural science, and on the other hand that you are like searching for something more, then you have to kind of make peace with yourself about the fact that you kind of need to have like two homes in your own home, so to speak, or different languages, and yeah, my stand, yeah, I don't know if you can do that. I guess you can, but some people think you can, and others think that it's too lazy. There must be like a concept, or there must be like a way of combining all the sentences into one main sentence. But yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Seems like everybody, seems like our viewers are enjoying the philosophical part of our discussion. I have a couple of comments here. Jax Malam says, "Oh, he seems like somebody who has studied." And Sick and Metal said the same thing, and he says the only thing he's hunting is books. So, yeah.
But not really. But I take it as a compliment. But I would like to read more than I do. That's just, one day takes another day, and you have to be several places.
Yeah.
Because that's what life demands of you.
Okay. And Apollonios, he says that you remind a little bit of Messiah Marcolin in your looks.
All right.
Yeah.
I am,
Yeah.
and that's where it ends for now, because I am not in any way a singer like he is, because he's one of the best singers that the world of metal has ever produced, in my opinion.
He's very gifted. And
oh yeah.
Did you see last year in 25 we had Rock Hard Festival in Greece, where Candlemas did this one reunion thing, and he also performed with them here in Greece.
Yes, I saw it, and I was like, only one show.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Yeah. Okay. And in a last continuation of our philosophical part, and then I will change. Sick and Metal is asking, do you believe that when one day we die, it's all over, or do you believe life continues, perhaps? I asked the same question to Martin Messi of Protector 4 days ago.
Well, since I'm not answering straight away, that means that I cannot just say yes or no. Believing, it's funny because we really don't have that distinction in the Danish language, like, very clearly, but you have it in English between faith and belief, where or where I make this test and I believe that this will be the outcome of this test because of this and this and this. So it looks like it would go in that direction. that translated or put to like a context of me wondering about my afterlife is difficult, because that would mean that I would in some way, in a poetic way or in symbolism or in my experience, I would have to, like, of some source, it could be nature or relations with other people or religious texts or traditions and stuff, that I can take something out of that and then then resonate myself towards a position where I actually believe that that will happen. Such a thing I don't believe in. I don't. That's that's too much for me personally. That's too much for me to. That's one step too far for me, because I don't think I'm able to take that step, that I can believe in such a way. If that makes sense at all, I don't know. But just the fact of kind of take kind of just leave everything, throw everything out of your hands and just stand there, metaphorical, kind of just bare naked, and walking into death. I definitely hope, and it's not logical, because you cannot. How would that be? It's more like within the language, a kind of a poetic position on it. I hope that there is something more, not for the sake of an afterlife, but something more also for the sake of finding meaningfulness in the present we live in and what we come from. And yeah, so it's all very abstract, I know that, but that's kind of the best answer I can give here now.
Okay, thank you. And my last question on this part, sorry, they come up to my mind, is
Yeah.
if you had a time machine and you could visit any place at any given time, what would you like to see? What are what would be the place and time you would like to visit and see? And what personality would you like to meet and talk to?
Oh, shit. It's um, any time without my own lifetime, outside my lifetime.
More specific.
So yeah, okay. All right. Um, yeah, I don't know. You have to ask yourself. There are many people I would like to meet, historical people, but but then again, you ask yourself, do I really want that?
Yeah.
Because because maybe
Maybe you get
maybe
somewhere and they sacrifice you or something. Oops. End of the journey.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm so glad that I finally got to meet you. Yeah, no, now you're gonna fucking die. Uh, I don't know. That whole person thing, then the list is endless. So it could be anyone, like well-known artists or philosophers or religious figures, or it could be anyone. It's more like what period I would like to let's say be 20 years in, 20 years old and be in. I First of all, I find myself very, very lucky, and that I got to grow up in the 90s, because I had this feeling that that was a special decade for people to grow up. So no matter what period of where I go on my travel backwards, it will not be as good as, I have no reason to expect it to be better than it is now. Um, um, yeah, okay. I would like to. It would have been fun to be like 18 years old in 1968 and just witness how rock and roll music just exploded, and yeah, some maybe being young in the 60s and 70s, mid 60s to mid 70s. I think that would have been really, really fun and interesting. And then also because that's something that is kind of similar to what I experienced when I grew up, where I there are traditions, but I don't have to be bound to traditions, and I can kind of carve out my own way. Where if I went further back in history than, like the 50s and backwards, then it would very much be about what kind of craft I did and what position I had in society. That would be the first thing I would try to have an influence on, because there was a whole nother view on individuality and freedom, Yeah, okay. Mid 60s to mid 70s.
All right. For me, musically, I think it would be the 80s.
Yeah.
But historically, I would like to go back to the pyramids and see how the hell they built these things.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And right, you've said that you're interested in ancient Greek history. After finally getting to Greece, did anything about being here resonate with the mythic, historical, or emotional side of Yotun in a way you didn't expect?
Yeah, like I said, being at Mount Olympus was extreme. Also
As you
because
said, yeah.
we didn't go to the summit of Mount Olympus, not the highest one, but the second highest one, and we were just at the by the edge, where if you go 5 meters further on, then it's sudden death downwards, and we looked at Mount Olympus, and it was completely covered in skies, clouds. It's called clouds, and then the clouds just like like drapes was just pulled to the side, and then the mountain was that was insane, and yeah, that's maybe something that was just the side of that was very, very inspiring, and you have that a lot in music, where you have like a build up, or you have a part which is in itself strong and beautiful, but it's really purposes to unveil something later on that is bigger, or you do that all the time. When you have a verse and a chorus, that's basically the clouds in front of the mountain, and then you can see the mountain clearly in the chorus, because everything just gets a bit bigger, or a bit more beautiful, or focused.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would mention that was a very inspiring moment.
Okay. And you described Feyo, is it called, as a sanctuary, a place of contemplation, rest, and inspiration. When you return to a place like that, does it change your state of mind as a musician, or does it actually give you concrete musical ideas?
What place?
Feyo. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Oh, the Faroese Islands.
Yeah.
I've been up there a couple of times, and for a long time as well. When I went there, I think I've been there in total in 4 weeks. Yeah, like our singer Jon, he's Faroese. He lives up there. Yeah, what can I say about the Faroe Islands? It's so beautiful and frightening at the same time. It's really something you have to be there to kind of get it, I guess. They don't really have trees or forests. They have a bit, but they don't really have. So it's just a lot of mountains and islands, just in a very, very special and fascinating structure. And it's easy to get around, and either everything is just clouded and gray and dark, or and then when it's blue sky, everything is just like you have this. It almost feels like the Atlantic Ocean up there is like it's like this big monster that is just, you know, it's like a siege. You know, it's just surrounding all these islands in a way where you're like, there's no way in hell I'm going on a boat out there. You know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that's what they're doing, and that's what they had to do, you know, for years, you know, for generations, and it's so violent. It's like sometimes it seems like the Atlantic Ocean is black, so you have this black, green, and blue combination from sky, the land, and the sea, which is extremely powerful. It's not that big of a country, and the mountains are not that high, but in perspective, it just seems kind of, you know, enormous. So. Yeah, and then it's a very, very nice people and fun people, and they're very, very creative people as well. They have a bunch of really good bands and singers and yeah, artists.
And you get to travel a lot also thanks to the band. So you have the chance to see different countries, different cultures, different people, different traditions. How does that influence you? And what is the most amazing place you have visited?
Um, as long you know, as long as every place where we come, as long as people are nice and friendly and kind, you know, and we try to be as well, then despite the, you know, everything is just cool for me. Um, um, well, yeah, it's no secret, you know. I love Norway. I love being in Norway. Norway is very, very special to me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. My personal favorite. Have you ever been to Japan?
No,
Okay, you should.
I know, and a lot of people tell me that. So one day, definitely
Yeah.
one day. Yeah.
All right. Okay, Jens. I'm slowly finishing with the question, so we're gonna take it like another 5 minutes. Is that okay?
Like a break, or
No, no, no.
like
We,
we
we're gonna
continue this
finish. We're
question.
gonna finish in like 5 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Yeah.
So during the period when Jon needed a break, the band still had to keep moving, and you were directly involved in working with Morten on Mistland.
Mm.
Did that period teach you anything important about the core identity of Yotun?
It yeah, it teaches me that we are actually able to, as a band, to keep on going no matter how difficult things are. Because it was, you know, it was difficult to, you know, to miss out on Jon. You know, we love having him with us, uh, but it was not at all difficult to be like, okay, of course you need this time, you know, for yourself, um, and uh, and um, we've had a kind of a bumpy road, you know, from way back when we started the band. It's been a slow start with everything, and this just showed us that I think maybe we are, you know, that we are just these years since the first album and onwards, we you know, we're kind of lucky now. Now it's things seems to work out for us, and we are very, very happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Okay. All right. And first moment in your life when you heard metal, when was it? What age? What song? What band? And how did you feel? How did it shape you?
It was my brother and I. We grew up on a farm, and then during the early 90s, we moved, and by the summer of 90,
By the summer of?
I
I,
I
lo-
had
I lost the sound for a second. By the summer of?
oh, okay, yeah, 2 seconds.
Battery.
Yeah, so much for batteries.
You're organized.
Yeah.
Seems it.
Okay, I think we hear you now.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. This is crazy organized. Summer '92. I was 8 years old. We have moved, and there was a boy. You know, the neighbors. They had a farm, and the kid from there, he came down one day and said, "Hello, do you want to be friends?" And I was like, "Yeah, all right." And then I went to their place, and he put on Sad But True with Metallica.
Aha. Okay. What age?
8.
8. Right.
Yes,
Okay.
it changed my life.
It changed your life.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it did. It was the feeling was unbelievable.
And the
I felt like something. There was something going on here, like you were like being introduced to like the the very edge of a very big forest, and you were like, I have to go in there.
yeah.
It was. I was really. I felt like I was surrounded by something that was warm and violent at the same time. It's a weird feeling.
Amazing. And the first gig that you remember as a kid, the first metal gig that you went to, what was it and when? At what age?
It was pretty late actually, because I'm the oldest child, so for my parents to allow me, we lived in the middle of nowhere, so there was always quite some distance to the metal gigs, and I was kind of they kept it pretty tight until I was like until I just turned 15, where I went to the Roskilde Festival, and the first two bands I saw was Nine Inch Nails and Iron Maiden. That was the Brave New World tour.
Okay. Brave New World Tour. That was, not the reunion tour in '99. That was with Bruce Dickinson. Brave New World was sometime like 2000, 2001, I think.
It came out just right before, during late spring, early summer, just right before Roskilde Festival in 2000.
2000, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Jens, what is one thing people still don't, you think that people still don't fully understand about Yotun? Something that you hope finally becomes clear on the next chapter of the band? Perhaps with a third album, or...
It's a hard one, because it's not. I don't really. I haven't like really experienced people having an understanding of us where I'm like, oh, that's totally off. Because I also get where it comes from, and if people have very different opinions on us or understandings, then that's just totally fine. I can mention two, and it's maybe based on the Wizard EP, but some people tend to put us in the power metal box a little bit more than I believe we are. But without saying, there's a lot of power metal I really, really love. So no problem, but maybe a little more than, but it's just a few people, so it's not even worth mentioning. Also,
I wouldn't.
No, me neither. But and then of course, on some of the lyrical stuff, we are not preaching certain ways of seeing life. We are basically telling stories where we put up different perspectives. So, for instance, with Access All Worlds, if you don't like get an idea about the whole stuff, but just listens to like the Tower of Cosmic Nihility, so few people tend to believe that our worldview is nihilistic, and that's not like a band position at all. But that being said, we are 5 individuals in the band, and we are very also very different in terms of how we see things. But in a very caring and it's something that really connects us, is that we have that we are different also.
Okay. I'm reading a comment from Sick and Metal. He says, my son was 10 months old, and when I hear on the house metal, he always smiles and he bangs his body, and he said, I think he changed his life already with that music. So, and Vasilis is answering and he says, you're lucky my daughters listen to K-pop shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What can I do? What?
And I think this could be my last question. That you've hinted, even in this interview, that the third album may lean a bit more metallic with more chugging riffs and a stronger melodic death presence. What part of yourself as a guitarist do you feel is asking to come forward next?
It's I would really like to I would really like to up my game in terms of guitar solos. That's always something from album to album with Jesper and I. It's like how can we express ourselves better, or you know, how can we basically become better or make solos that has, you know, better structures, or basically just sounds better, because you know, we love guitar solos, but I also get the fact that people can get bored if they listen to it. It depends, you know. Some people are you know, some people are like, you know, they love if there's a guitar solo between every part, you know, where vocal solo, but I get it. It's solos are tricky, because I don't think it's a good idea to put in a solo if you're not able to make it blend with the entire body of the song. If it's just something put on top, it really has to be extraordinary to you know, make up for it, stay on the song. And the worst thing in the world is having a great metal song and then there's a solo and you're like, well, that's not a good solo. It's like a painting. You don't want a perfect painting and then there's a yellow line in the corner and you're like, what the fuck is up with that? So it's like so I would definitely say that getting better and better at composing the guitar solos is always very important.
Okay, and I have to ask you then to tell me favorite guitarist, favorite bassist, favorite drummer, and favorite vocalist.
Also, I have to make like a dream setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the dream team for a band, but individually, you know, who are your favorite musicians in these 4 positions?
Yeah. My favorite bass player is only one. Favorite bass player is, can I mention 3? No, 1?
Be my guest, there is no restrictions.
No, okay. Oh, Geezer Butler.
Okay.
Or Cliff Burton. Or Steve Harris. Okay, that's it. That's enough. Favorite guitar player, again, a guitar player where it's so far away from the music we write, but it's just been like that since I was a little kid. And it's Angus Young of AC/DC. That's my favorite guitarist. It's called it is, you know, by fact, it's an electric guitar, and he's the most electric guitarist I know. Singer Ozzy Osbourne.
Okay.
That's my favorite voice of all time. And what do we have? Drummer. Oh shit. Yeah. Can I say Lars Ulrich?
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe I can. Maybe I can.
All right.
For many reasons. I know I know a lot of people wouldn't mention him, but I got my reasons. Yeah. Okay.
All
okay.
right. Good.
Gise Bot og Angus Young og Ozzy Osbourne, Lars Ulrich.
All right. Sick and Metal says in the comments, he said it, Lars.
Yeah, I said it.
All right, man. Great. I will let you close this interview with a message to your fans.
Oh yeah. That's only 2 words really. That's thank you. Every time we meet our fans, they are kind and polite, and they are supportive, and not just in a where all the talk goes one way. We always have good conversations with people we meet, and thank you so much, for buying our shit and listening to our music and spreading the word and coming to our shows, everything, all that stuff that really matters for, every band.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, Jens, thank you very much for being here tonight. It was a real pleasure and an honor to have you on Altars of Metal to talk about Yotun, your music, your vision, and everything behind the band's journey. Thank you for your time, your openness, and this great conversation. We talked about quite a few things. And stay online. And of course, all the best to you and the rest of Yotun for everything, that lies ahead. To everyone watching, make sure to support Yotun. Check out their music. Be at the gigs in Athens and in Thessaloniki this week. If you're from Greece. Otherwise, to the rest of the appearances of Yotun. Check out the music and dive into their incredible work if you haven't already. And as always, if you enjoyed this interview, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video. I gotta say the spam things, So thank you all for watching, and until next time, stay heavy. Jens, stay online. Guys, for the Greek audience, see you on Wednesday, and all the best. Have a good night.